going on, guys? This is Martyrs Brigade 99 coming to you once again with another session of Dark Souls commentary. Alright guys, so this is going to be my very first video dedicated to Dark Souls 3. I haven't really been PvPing at all because I've been too busy doing a lot of PvE, right? So I'm just starting to really dedicate my time into PvP right now, and hey, as you can see, I'm pretty bad at it. But okay, so I've been playing through New Game, obviously New Game Plus and New Game Plus 2. I'm trying to get all the rings, all the spells, doing whatever I can to get that platinum achievement for the game, and I've been really enjoying it. Now, when you look at all the games, you know, Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1 through 3, and Bloodborne, I think I'm going to have to give Bloodborne my #1 ranking as far as PvE experience. As a matter of fact, I can't even edge it. I have to give it to Bloodborne. The core game, you know, you have the core game in addition to the chalice dungeons, the difficulty, everything was there. The trick weapons, it was great as far as the PvE experience. Now, I do know a lot of people dislike the chalice dungeons, right? Mainly because of the grinding for weapons. But I'm not talking about that as far as the PvE is concerned. I'm talking about just looking at the core game and then the chalice dungeon and all the additions that it brought. You know, the added difficulty, the added challenges, new bosses, and new enemies that weren't in the core game. When you look at all that and take it all into context, I would have to give my best PvE experience to Bloodborne. Then I would give it to Dark Souls 3. Third place would be a tie between Dark Souls 1 and Demon Souls. And, you know, that other Souls game, I would have to put it last. Now, I'm not saying that other Souls game was a bad Souls game. I'm just going to rank it below all the others and Bloodborne. Right? But I've been really enjoying it. I still have a few things to do before I achieve platinum status. I mean, I do have a job, so it's not like I can sit here and, you know, get it all done within a few days or whatnot. But I've been enjoying it. You know, I think everything is good about it. Now, one thing that I do dislike about this game so far. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I also played the Japanese version, and the North American version to me seems a bit watered down as far as difficulty when you compare it to the Japanese version at release. Now, I don't know what the difficulty is like right now for the Japanese version, but from my experience and from the experiences based upon what some of my friends have also agreed with me, the bosses hit harder. I mean, I don't know. It just seemed more difficult. Like when I play the game now, it's just kind of like, okay, I'm just kind of breezing through it. And we're not going to even talk about going into New Game Plus. New Game Plus in Dark Souls 3 is the worst, the absolute worst of the series. You know, once I got into New Game Plus, I was expecting to see some obvious increase in difficulty. And I didn't see it. You know, yeah, the enemies may hit slightly harder. Yeah, the bosses were slightly more difficult, but it was really nothing that was really noticeable. You know, nothing that really stood out like it did in Dark Souls 1, you know, in Bloodborne, and Demon Souls, and even Dark Souls 2. So I'm really disappointed in the difficulty when you go from New Game to New Game Plus. Another issue I have with the PvE is the fact that I think they need to do something with the rings. Because aside from trying to get platinum status, there really isn't a significant incentive, right, to go all the way to New Game Plus 2 just to get all the rings. Because there's not a major difference between the initial ring and the Plus 2 version. It's not even all that significant. Now, is it cool to have? Yeah, you know, if you have a buddy who can drop you the rings off, it's good to go. But at the end of the day, I mean, I just really don't see myself playing through each game 3 times just to get the best rings. It's not that serious. But aside from that, it's a solid game. The PvP, you know, when I was going through all my PvE runs, I was kind of on the fence about it. But keep in mind, I still have issues. But you know, I was kind of on the fence about it when I was doing all my PvE runs, and it was mainly because I didn't dedicate time to PvP. It was just kind of one of those things where I'm running around, you know, working toward the boss. I'm embered up, get invaded a couple times, and then I would just, you know, get enraged in some cases. But now that I'm done all those PvE runs and I'm starting to get a better grasp of how the PvP is and how the weapon works and how the weapon arts work, I'm really starting to enjoy it. Actually, I'm really starting to enjoy it. Now, one thing I will say, could be a bit premature, but one thing that I will say, at least at this point, is I don't know if I'm going to be doing a lot of random invasions. Random invasions in this game, it's I don't know. I mean, like, everything is stacked against the invader. You know, number one, you don't have all your HP. You know, number two, they have this ridiculous item that all the enemies start chasing you down. That's ridiculous. In addition to having not only a host, but multiple phantoms with them. And then on top of that, you have 2 covenants that will come and attack you as an invader. That's pretty bad. You know, I mean, that's pretty bad. Now, again, I'm saying that based upon, you know, maybe a handful of experiences that I had. I haven't really dedicated that much time to PvP. That was my initial thought. Maybe the more I, you know, just kind of delve into it, those opinions might change. But as of now, you know, as of the time of this upload, I'm kind of on the fence about invasions, and I don't really see myself doing a lot of them. Okay, but that's not what this first video is going to be about. All right, I think that's enough ranting, kind of talking about my initial thoughts about the game and, you know, what I've been doing for the last 3 weeks and all this other stuff. So, this is what I want to talk about in this particular video. What do you guys think about poise? You know, now, even though I've been, you know, going all into the PvE, I've still been watching videos. You know, and as a matter of fact, there's several people who I find myself watching their material all the time. You know, one guy, for example, is the Dropout Dragon. Now, I absolutely love this guy's channel. I watch every single one of his videos. I just recently subbed to him, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago. And every single time he uploads a video, it's a good one. I haven't seen any video, you know, and it's not just one of those videos where you're just going around kicking ass with your little tunes to it and the music and whatnot. No, he does commentaries, you know. So if you guys who've been with me for a while and you like my commentaries, 9 times out of 10 you'll like his, if not even more than mine. All right, he definitely has some good commentaries and good footage along with those commentaries. Another guy that I watch, now he doesn't speak, but I mean, his videos are entertaining. Some guy called, I think it's like Infernal Plus or something like that. I think that's his name. It's Infernal something. I don't have his channel in front of me. I think it's Infernal Plus. I'm pretty sure. That guy has some really entertaining videos. Another guy, Apple Frog Tomato Face. He doesn't speak either. But the showcases on his YouTube channel are very informative. Now, keep in mind, like I said before, I haven't been PvPing. But what I have learned in a number of his videos are some useful tips that I'm definitely going to use and experiment with myself once I start really digging into the PvP. What's another guy? Check251. He has a YouTube channel and he streams on Twitch. That guy is really, really, really good at PvP. I like to watch his material, and actually from watching his videos, there's going to be some things that I'm going to start to work on in the future now that I have no more PvEing to do. And there's a few others, right? I don't know the names of all of them, but that's just a few that I can think of right now. I'll put a link to all those channels in the description box in the event that you're not familiar with any of those guys. Because you guys know one thing about me, right? It's not only about the brigade, it's about the community as a whole. So if I can spread information about other good uploaders, other good contributors to the community, I'll definitely do it. So Dropout Dragon, Inferno Plus, Check 251. I think I said one more. I'll let you know how bad my memory is. But anyway, I'll put a link to those channels in the description box. Okay, so enough of all of that. So I'm in streams, I'm reading comment sections of certain videos, and I'm hearing a lot of people being butthurt about the longsword, the S-Stock, and the dark sword. Okay, let me just start this video off by saying I do not believe any of those three should be touched. They should not be nerfed. I've been hearing a lot of people especially calling for a nerf about that dark sword. Some people bitching and moaning about the S-Stock and butthurt also about the long sword. I hope they don't do anything to those, and the reason why I say that is because when you look at Dark Souls 1, and let's just say for the sake of argument on a 40/40 character, the longsword in Dark Souls 1 was not significantly different than the longsword in Dark Souls 3. I'm sorry, man, I'm saying that all wrong. I mean the longsword in Dark Souls 3 is not significantly different than the longsword in Dark Souls 1. Now, granted, the dark sword was a bit different in Dark Souls 1. But as far as damage from a long sword, it wasn't significantly different than what we had in Dark Souls 1. Same with the S-Stock. The S-Stock was not significantly different than what it was in Dark Souls 1 on a 40/40 character. So the issue is not that, these weapons are just so strong and they need to be nerfed. That's not the issue. The issue is we don't have a poise system. And because we don't have a poise system, every weapon seems to be a guaranteed 2-hit combo, except for a few exceptions. Maybe the washing pole, I heard that doesn't have a guaranteed 2-hit combo, and maybe some other weapons that I don't know of at this point because I haven't been PvPing. But the issue to me is not the weapons themselves. And I know some people are going to disagree. I know some people are going to say, well, Brigade, you haven't been PvPing, so you don't know. No, dude, even though I haven't been PvPing, all you have to do is just be objective and really look at what's going on. And the thing that I see is that a weapon, a rapier, for example, that's about 1.5 units, for whatever reason, has the same properties as a ultra great sword in the sense that it's a guaranteed 2-hit combo as long as you spam. I think that needs to be corrected. And the only way that's going to be corrected is with the poise system. Now, I'm kind of on the fence about poise as well. And I think that's going to be a subject of another video because I didn't really intend to make this video all that long. But the issue is there is no reason for a long sword, an S-Stock, or a dark sword to have the same properties as, let's just say, a hammer, great hammers, axes, great swords, or ultra great swords. Those weapons I can understand having multi-hit combos with some exceptions. Like, for example, I don't know if you guys remember, some of you Dark Souls 1 vets, when Dark Souls 1 was first released, the Claymore in particular and the Moonlight Greatsword was a guaranteed infinite stun lock insofar as the user had stamina. As long as you had enough stamina, it was an infinite stun lock. Infinite. And it drove a lot of people crazy in the beginning. Now keep in mind, Dark Souls 3 has only been out for 3 weeks. Right? It's only been out for 3 weeks, and a lot of people are butthurt. And it seems like for whatever reason, We have a lot of experienced players from previous Souls games, but they're just falling into the same routine, crying and being butthurt about certain weapons, when the game has only been out less than a month. There's a lot of tools out there from my few experiences, because keep in mind, I just start PvPing like last week. And when I say last week, I don't mean like early last week. I mean like literally, what is today? Sunday? Probably about Thursday or Friday is when I really started to dedicate my time to PvP. I'm really not seeing this issue that you guys are seeing. I'm not seeing it. Now, I don't know if you guys are trying to play Dark Souls 3 in the same way that you played Dark Souls 1 or some other game, but you can't. There's hyper armor in this game. There's weapon arts. There's special shields. There's parrying shields. There's, weapon art shields. There's a lot of tools in the tool belt. And if you're not exploring those tools, of course you're going to get frustrated with some of these weapons. They all have a counter. I have countered them on numerous occasions. I've countered them with a mace, a regular mace, which, I think I'm going to make this a 2-part series. And in the second video, I'm going to demonstrate for myself, what exactly I'm talking about. I have countered long swords, rapiers, dark swords with a mace, the regular standard mace. Not an OP mace, not the great mace, not an ultra mace, just a regular mace. Mace, halberd, and obviously the Zwei. I can even do it with the Zwei. One thing that I'm realizing is that a lot of players, they're going after the one-trick pony. So in other words, they'll go after, hey, case in point, look at this hero right here with this weapon. I see him all the time. I see this weapon all the time. And they try to use that weapon for every single situation. And you won't be able to do that in this game. You will not. Because different weapons have different properties. And because they have different properties, there will be no one-trick pony. Strength weapons will not be the be-all, end-all. Katanas will not be the be-all, end-all, based upon, what player you're facing. It'll be, you'll be successful. But you will definitely find another player who can counter your build. And that's one good thing that I like about this game so far. So listen. I'm just going to go ahead and make this a 2-part series. This is going to be part 1 because this is kind of going a little longer than what I expected. And as you guys know, I don't go by scripts. All right. So let me just end this and then just stand by for part 2. All right. So until next time, Martyr's Brigade is out.